Welcome to this special YouTube edition of One on One with Mitch Lafon. I am your host, Mitch Lafon. As always, brought to you by the Heavy Montreal Festival, taking place August 7th, 8th, and 9th in beautiful downtown Montreal, Quebec, Canada. This year featuring Slipknot, Korn, Faith No More, Iggy Pop, Dokken, Warrant, Lita Ford, and many, many more. Head over to heavymontreal.com for all your Heavy Montreal needs. And this week, joining me on the show is ISSA. Her new album is called Crossfire. And we talk about a little bit about the album and touring and the whole European metal scene. But we also talk about Vega's James Martin, who is the brother of keyboardist Tom Martin from Crossfire. And he had a little bit of controversy earlier this year when he accused Swedish band H.E.A.T of not singing live. So we talk about that controversy. And of course, I'll remind you, if you would like to win a pair of tickets to the Heavy Montreal Festival, head over to the One on One Facebook page. All the information on how to win a pair of tickets to the show is there. And certainly good luck with that. And here we are. Let's listen to ISSA. We are talking with ISSA. The new album is Crossfire. It's a great, I guess melodic rock would be the best way to describe it, right?
Yeah, I would say it's quite yeah, it's definitely it's AOR melodic rock, and it's a little bit of a softer album I think than what I've done previously.
Yeah.
So it's huge choruses and that kind of a thing. So yeah, very happy with the album.
Where do the influences come from? Were you a big Journey fan? Were you a big Kiss fan? What was sort of your pedigree?
Well, I think with these songs, basically, I work a lot with Tom and James Martin, so I
Mm-hmm.
think a lot of these songs are basically it's just written as what it is really. But of course, growing up, I love bands like Def Leppard. That's again huge choruses. I love like loads of backing vocals and that thing, as well as I think as a female singer, definitely, always listen to. Heart and Robin Beck and those kind of a things.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I guess it comes a little bit from everything. But yeah, I love Journey. Absolutely love them as well. So I think, a lot of of course, the major bands, is always a big influence. As well as you try to kind of like bring your own identity into the things. So yeah.
Now, as a we'll call it a reasonably new artist, are you finding it difficult these days to make any inroads given the state of the business?
Well, it's do you know what? It is it can be difficult. It's the scene itself is not huge, but the people in it is they're just amazing and very loyal and buy your albums, which is always really really great. And I think that way compared to probably a lot of other genres, you would probably find it easier in this one because
Mm-hmm.
just because you have the fans and the scene are very very close. Um, but it's like with anything, I think as a woman, I mean, it's easy on some parts, but it's probably more difficult on other parts. I think you get more noticed because you're a female, but then again, it's hard and there's a lot of expectations, I guess. So, it's yeah, but the people are amazing and I think they've been so kind so far. So, I can only be happy with that.
Yeah, they really can. I guess we should talk about some of the guests you've had on the album.
Yeah.
Robert Saul, of course, who's with Work of Art, which is an incredibly fantastic band.
Yeah.
Michael Q in fact, I think that's how you say his name, but of Vega, Alessandro Del Vecchio, Hardline, and others. Um, what's it
Yeah.
like working with those guys?
I mean, it's amazing. The thing is, I'm on my fourth album now, and
Right.
during this journey, I've gotten to know a lot of amazing people, and I worked with a lot of these guys on previous albums, and I've formed friendships basically. So when you see them on festivals, we're always having a drink together or that kind of a thing. So it felt really natural to get in touch with them and just would you like to do something on the album? And I think for me it was important that they could be part of the album, not just be called to do a solo that sounds exactly like what we did on the demo, but
Right.
make their own um get their own stamp on the album, and I think we've succeeded in that. And it's just amazing working with these guys. Anyway, they're just fantastic.
Now, you are working with James, who's your husband, and Tom, the brother.
Yeah.
Um, Tell me a little bit about working there, because you know, if I had to go to work all day long with my wife, God bless her soul, we've been married
Yeah.
13 years. At
Yeah.
some point, I probably would be like, all right, already.
Yeah.
um, does it help? Does it hurt? Are there sometimes there's fights over nonsense, or is it sometimes like, wow, we're so in
Oh,
touch with each other, we really know what we were trying to get here? Tell me a little bit about
Mitch,
that.
tell you something.
Yeah.
To be married to one of them, it's you get two for the price of one, and it
Oh,
sounds
that's right, because they're twins on top of that.
yeah. So obviously, when we do a lot of songs, I'm quite opinionated, and so are they in a
Right.
weird way. So we do clash sometimes, but I think that's the beauty of it, that we can be honest, and we can, when you work with people that you don't know as well, it's harder sometimes to be like, oh no, that's shit. I
Right, because
don't
you're trying to
like
be
this.
polite.
Yeah, you're kind of like polite, and you try to kind of like, yeah, we'll do a song that we're both reasonably happy with. But I think with this relationship with us guys, it's a lot easier. We can be honest with each other, and it's like, oh no, I don't like that. That's rubbish. Up to next song. We can be honest, and I like that. But then again, we do have arguments, and you know like anybody else, it's like you say, sometimes you just want to just grab them and
You want to wring them out sometimes, but
yeah.
so does it add to the overall sound? I mean, does it sound
Yeah, I mean, we kind of like we have our own little tasks. I think Tom does a lot of the backings, together with James. They do that kind of a thing, and then we write a lot of the melodies together. I have like one golden rule, and that's like none of the guys are even, not even allowed in the room when I'm recording my vocals.
right?
Just because I think I like to have my piece, and I like to do things my way. And if they don't like it, we can go back and we can change it. But if they were in the room, it would have been like, oh no, I don't like this. Can you do that? Can you do this? So that way we kind of like have to have a little bit of boundaries, and I think it does contribute to the how it sounds in the end, because you got our personalities in it, all of us. So we kind of like try not to kill each other during this.
During this, now I do need to ask you about personality.
Yeah.
Tom recently went out on a limb and had uh,
I know.
unnice things to say about the band Heat. Now, we talk about community and we're all sort of in this together, but
Yeah.
he said some things about backing tracks, and I believe the quote was, "They would sound like shit."
Yeah.
Um, what do you take on that? I mean, was he justified to say it? Even if he was justified, should he maybe have just kept it to himself?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. I think, I think both the guys have always been really, proud of, I think, proud of their sound, and proud of that. We don't need, backing tracks, and we don't do
Right,
that. Even though I think, it's a split opinion like anybody else. I can be honest and say, when I do live gigs, I love backing tracks. But
right,
for me, I think the whole point was maybe like, for me it's more difficult because I don't have always like a staple band. I use a lot of different bands, and
right.
it's hard to kind of always get things perfect. They don't have enough time to sit and do this. But I think I don't know, I think maybe his view was, them as a band that's doing that many gigs. I think the whole point was them being, I think, like he being like credited as, I'm just saying what I think anyway.
Right, because you can't speak for him
But
really, but
I think they're credited as one of the best live bands, and I
right.
think that was the point. That I don't think it was because really we don't accept backing tracks, so don't like to hear it. But I think it was something to do with that. But definitely, maybe should kept them, kept it to themselves, and moved on. But what can I say? They're little boogers. That's what they are. They're just, and I think it came back really harsh, and I think people didn't like it. And you can only kind of like learn from that and move on. But
Yeah.
I think, yeah, that's
Yeah.
what I
Yeah.
could say anyway. But I don't think they meant any harm with it. And as far as I know, they
No.
got
No.
no problem with the guys and H.E.A.T or anything like that. So, I think in a weird way, a little bit of maybe, you know, banterish things, that they're well known for being a bit outspoken, a little bit
A
maybe
little.
too outspoken. I have a little bit of attitude sometimes. You see what I have to put up with?
Yeah, I do. I do. No. No.
You
It's
see
just
what I
that.
have to put up with?
Because yeah, absolutely. There's just that I've been doing interviews for over 20 years, and you get to learn a few things. And there's a lot of bands out there, like 99% of them,
Yeah,
that really don't do live shows. There's always a
yeah,
drum track or there's a vocal, and so
yeah,
am I as a fan disappointed that Heat uses backing tracks? Sure, because I love live, live, live.
yeah,
At the same
exactly.
time, I can't hide the fact that everybody else does it, whether it's Queensryche or Motley Crue
Yeah,
or. And so when I read Tom's thing, I went, "Oh man, that strikes me as somebody who's jealous or somebody who's,"
yeah,
and it was too bad because I like Vega,
yeah.
I like what you're doing, I like what Heat's doing, and it's like, oh, we need to stick together.
I know. Yeah, I know. I think it's been a big learning lesson. I definitely don't think he ever thought it would be as huge as what it was. And
Right.
he never went to the press. He posted something on his private Facebook that was just taken out and woke up the next morning, probably a little bit too much to drink, and woke up the next morning and it was all over internet. And I think, I don't think that was what it was planned, but it's a big learning lesson. Obviously, people are noticing what's going on
On Facebook, sure,
Facebook and things like that. So,
which is good
be a bit
because it
more
means people
careful.
care, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's people don't like it, and it's a small scene, and you got to be a bit careful. On the other hand, I think most people that know these guys would know they probably can be a little bit outspoken and take things, yeah, so take things with a pinch of salt and just, and I think, some people were absolutely horrible. I saw on Tom's Facebook, they were absolutely just attacking him back for this. So, I think at the end of the day, it's a musical opinion, maybe should be rewritten a little bit. In my opinion, it was maybe a bit harsh, but I don't think the guys have got any problem with anybody. So,
Yeah.
hopefully,
Anyway,
hopefully the storm will blow over and, they can move on with it.
yeah,
That's,
yeah.
yeah.
Let's hope, and let's not focus on it anymore. So, of course, Crossfire came out this year. The reviews have been phenomenal. You're
Yeah.
getting 8 on 10, 9 on 10. Melodic Rock I think gave it 93 on 100.
Yeah.
Um, what's the plan now? I mean, how long do you tour? Can you ever come over to North America? And then
Well, I got to get an invite, Mitch.
I know, and it's difficult for a lot of the bands.
Yeah.
There's a festival in Montreal called Heavy Montreal. Last year, Metallica played, Twisted
Ah,
Sister, and they asked my opinion. I said, "Oh, we should bring over Eclipse. We should bring over this." But
yeah.
the problem is that a flight from Sweden in the middle of summer
Yeah.
is like $4,000, and then you
Yeah.
do band and crew. It becomes cost prohibitive. So
Yeah.
it's unfortunate. But what are the touring plans? I guess Europe, a lot of Europe.
Yeah, I mean, what we got planned so far is basically we're going to do a little UK tour. So we're putting up a few dates. That's going to be around the UK. Um, and that's going to be the main focus. It's like you say, it's very difficult.
Hmm.
In a weird way, I'm a little bit lucky because if it is festivals and things like that, obviously they can use the house band on me in a way because I am a solo act in the end of the day, but it's the same for me as well. Just doing gigs around. I have to basically. Pay a band to be with me. I
Hmm.
can't expect people to do things, totally free. Of course, I think
Well,
our good
your
friend.
husband should certainly do it
Oh
for free.
yeah, of course. He's getting whipped, poor guy. He has to come.
That's the way
But
that's part of the package, though.
yeah, exactly. But for the other guys, luckily we do have some really great musician friends.
Right.
So they'll come and do anything. But you do have things like you got to pay for all the hotels, all the traveling, all of this, all of that, and make sure that nobody goes out of pocket. And so it is difficult. But we are planning a few dates around the UK. So that's probably going to be one day in London and one day in either Manchester or in Newcastle, Nottingham, sorry,
Right.
Manchester or Nottingham. Um, and then I'm going to Frontiers Festival.
Oh, which is great.
Yeah, so I'm actually I'm doing a song with Ted Poley this time.
Oh,
So
that's nice. Danger,
yeah,
danger. There you go.
no, so, I mean Ted Poley is coming out with a new album as well. So eh, I'm going to be part of one of the songs on this new album, which is great, to get the chance to do that. So,
Hmm.
um, we're going to perform that song in Italy. That's going to be great. So yeah, I'm doing bits and bats really, trying to do as much as I can and whatever that seems like it's kind of like worth it. So, but first of all, these are the first thing I'm going to do immediately.
Right. With,
Kind of thing.
with with the limited touring,
Yeah.
does that mean you spend more time at home writing songs for another album? Like what's next in the career? Is it
Yeah.
another album, another band? Do you go join Vega? Do you go like what's the
Yeah, I
plan?
mean, for us, basically, we do write a lot of songs,
Hmm.
and a lot of the songs gets pitched towards other albums. So that's how it works sometimes, and we can't sit and keep everything. But definitely, I've got some plans to, you got to start writing already. If you're going to do a new album in years to come, it's going to take time to write the album, time to start up the album, and then you got all the time before it gets released. So, a little bit the reason why it took such a long time with it. Well, it's a long time, it isn't a long time, but it took a longer time with this album than it's done with the other ones.
Right.
But definitely keep writing. I do want to make a little bit of a harder album actually next time. So I'm kind of like in that mood at the moment, in that mode. I want to write some even more harder rock songs.
Oh, that's great.
But yeah, we're just writing songs, trying to pitch them off. And when we come across a song that I'm thinking, oh, I like this one, I'll keep that for myself. And so that's what we do. Trying to get these dates together now. So we're going to do a little bit of an ISSA UK tour.
Great.
Then we got the Frontiers Festival. Then it's back to writing again, and yeah. So it's always busy. Weirdly enough.
Which is good, which is good. And we'll
Yeah.
we'll end on this. You mentioned the Frontiers Festival,
Yeah.
but we have to talk about Frontiers Record. They are giving a lot of bands like yourself,
Yeah.
work of art, and a chance that they probably wouldn't have if they had to go to Sony or to Universal.
That's,
How important is Frontiers to what you do and to the scene in general?
I think that they're very important. I think they are the biggest um, rock label that's really out there, and I think uh, it's not many places today that you can get an advance where you can make an album and these kind of things.
And make a video. I mean, they even
And
do
make a
videos.
video,
Yeah.
all these things to put things together. And I think they're doing an amazing good job. They're doing bands and bringing back old bands, and
Yep.
I think it keeps the scene alive. And I don't know where the scene would have been really without them. I think they're a major part in it, and I think it's fantastic to see as well. They're just growing, and they're getting bigger and bigger, and getting a lot of bigger acts in as well as to kind of like keep everybody else. So, yeah, I think they're doing absolutely great, and I think they're massively important. They really truly are.
Yeah, they
And
really are.
for me as well, where I could have done albums, could have put them out and all this, but it is really nice to lean on them and kind of like know that you are in a really good system and that you're being taken care of. So I think yeah, just they're just fantastic. And
Yeah.
Serafino as well at Frontiers, he's been so amazingly kind and awesome with me. So I'm super grateful and thankful. I don't think a lot of people get the chance to do what I do, and that's yeah, it's just
They don't, and Frontiers is a big reason for that. 20 years ago or 15 years ago, when I used to get Frontier promo records, it was a whole bunch of nobody names, but yet they
yeah,
managed to keep going, and then they started signing White Snake and Dokken and Journey, and it
yeah,
grew, and now the next level of bands like ISSA, like Work of Art, now they're bringing the next wave of great new music, and without them, I don't know what a hard rock fan would do. I mean, you really don't have a choice. Sony's not
Yeah,
doing anything, and so
exactly.
yeah, and the infrastructure, which is what I think you're getting to, is you're plugged into a system where the album doesn't just fall in a hole. It's got a video, and it's
Yeah,
got the Facebook page, and they're getting people like me to do interviews.
yeah.
It's really good, but
And
absolutely.
they got a system, and that's amazing. They do, and they are getting bigger. And getting a bigger like system around them as well. So I think they're just yeah, they just keep going. It's going to be interesting to see 10 years from now where they're going to be at, because it seems like they're just going larger and larger.
I agree. ISSA, absolute pleasure speaking with you today, and congratulations on the album. It really sounds killer. I mean, it's a killer album.
Oh, thank you, Mitch. That's awesome. I'm glad you liked it.
Yeah, it really it's, and I don't want to say it was surprising because that sounds rude, but sometimes you get new bands and you go, oh, what's this nonsense? And then you put it on and you get that moment of, oh, okay, now I know why they signed it. Now I know why their record put, and this one was one of those because I got it and I went, okay, what's this? And you put it on, you go,
Yeah.
yeah, I got it. And when
Uh,
Andrew over at melodicrock.com gives it a 90, you know that it's
yeah.
good.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean it's awesome, and just to see the response from people. And I think especially because I feel like I've been more involved with this album.
Yeah,
I've done all the songs, and it's taken ages to demos and picking out songs, and that it feels really good. It does.
it really does. It
Yeah.
really does. And hopefully you'll get over to Montreal and the rest of
Uh,
Canada and the States. It's a harder road, but maybe there'll be a Frontiers record festival in New Jersey someday or something. But
yeah, and you never know. And if you come over to England, you know where to find me.
absolutely, I look forward to it. I love all these bands. Not Crossfire. I was going to say Frontiers, by the way.
Yeah.
Great stable. They've got a
Yeah.
great bunch of people, and
Yeah, they do. Absolutely. They're awesome.
absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mitch.
Thank you. There you have it. My interview with ISSA. The new album is Crossfire. Please make sure to check that out. And while you're checking stuff out, head over to the heavymontreal.com website to check out all the latest information about Heavy Montreal, which takes place August 7th, 8th, and 9th in beautiful downtown Montreal, Quebec, Canada at Parc Jean Drapeau, Slipknot, Korn, Lita Ford, Warrant, Dokken, and many, many more. And while you're at it, head over to Twitter and follow me at Mitch Lafon. Hope you enjoyed this special YouTube edition of One on One with Mitch Lafon. And thank you. Thank you for listening. Bye now.